Hey gang, it's your buddy Platt here, and we're continuing on our Spirit series. We're also continuing to focus on the rum world. Today, more importantly, we're focusing in on dark rum. Dark rum is also referred to sometimes as black rum. It's kind of the next progression. We went from light rums to gold rums, now we're going to dark rums. Some dark rums, like I said, also referred to as black rums, aren't just straight black. There are some that have a reddish hue to it, almost like a mahogany to it. So, but it still fits in the same category. It's not just that this rum is darker in color, but it's why it's darker that really kind of makes the difference. As we learn, rum in general is produced pretty much from any derivative or anything from sugarcane. Rum agricole is specifically from just the juice, but other rums in general, any kind of derivative, whether it's the cane syrup or molasses that gets produced, can produce pretty much any style of rum. Dark rums, however, tend to focus on molasses, and usually a certain type of molasses, blackstrap molasses, something you can find at Whole Foods or your grocery store, and it is midnight black. It is the darkest molasses. It's also one of the most intense as far as flavor. It really ratchets up the flavor, and that comes through into the rum. Even though off the still it's still clear like anything else that gets distilled, but it's because that product that it comes from does eventually translate, after it goes through the entire process, into the bottle. And so, but that blackstrap molasses, again, very intense flavor, and that's going to carry through, as we'll see through the process. The main reason why dark rums are darker is they just spend more time in the barrel. A good example of this is the Capa 23. As we learn, because a rum may say it's 23 years old, doesn't mean all the rum's in there. But we do know there's some 23-year-old rum in there, and that's just going to have more color from it, again, just from the wood, and that much time in the barrel. And again, that 23-year-old rum's the backbone of Zacapa and why that has such dark color to it. Also, the difference in the barrels that the rum makers use compared to the bourbon makers. These dark rum barrels tend to have a far darker char or more intense. They literally burn it more. In whiskey making, and especially in wine making, sometimes they use a lighter char in the barrel. They just want to pick up a little wood, a little bit of vanilla. Here we're really burning those sugars, really, burning deep into the wood. And that again also makes its way into the bottle. We also talked about in earlier rum videos how, because rum's made everywhere, and again a lot of times we're talking about smaller countries with a little less regulation, there's just not a ton of rules for rum, and one of the things rum makers have in their bag of tricks is caramel coloring. Well, obviously, we talked about in the gold rums, that translates here too. Also, the dark rum makers also will sometimes add molasses or burnt sugar, again, to add to the intensity of the flavor a little bit, but also add to the color. Dark rum historically were produced in the English-speaking islands and areas around the Caribbean. We're talking about colonial, pre-colonial period. Places like Bermuda, Guyana, and of course Jamaica are home to these dark rums. The British use this as a base for their navy rums or naval rums. I think we talked about in an earlier video, British soldiers or British naval officers who were like, up to about 1970, got a daily ration of rum. It was a very important part of their tradition. And again, rum in general kind of fits with pirates and the Navy and nautical and the ocean. And those naval rums were important to that tradition. The base of those rums, they tended to be blends, but the base of those rums were these dark rums. These dark rums, unlike just the general light sweetness we got from light rums. These rums are far more complex. Like I said, we went from general sweetness, then with gold rums, we started to pick up a little bit of wood, a little bit of vanilla. Now we're hitting more of the palate. Now we're talking about dried fruits, dark chocolates, oak, of course, because we're spending more time with that wood, leather, even some dark fruits, your dark cherries, maybe even a little bit of plum. Just more flavor, more intensity. It's going to hit your palate harder than those other style of rums. Dark rums are not, in the cocktail world as general, are not as beloved as your light rums, but in the tiki world and in the world of tiki cocktails, dark rums are still highly important. They go into classic drinks like the Dark and Stormy, the Hurricane, and the Jungle Bird. Also, a lot of times they're used as a floater on top. A gives it a little bit of kick, and just be the visual looks nice. The particular dark rum we're going to try today is the one probably everybody knows. Myer's rum, the original dark, 80 proof, 40% alcohol by volume. The company was founded in 1879 by Fred Myers. What comes in the bottle is a blend of up to 9 different rums. These rums are produced from 100% Jamaican molasses. It says it right here, 100% fine Jamaican rum. They let us know about that. Those rums are produced on both pot and column stills, so you get a little variety there. And it's aged up to 4 years in white oak. So let's give her a try. All right, I do pick up, I want to say I get almost a little bit of the leather. Definitely a sweetness on the nose. I can almost, this is going to sound weird to say, but I can almost smell the thickness. This is, again, not going to be anything like the light rums or even the gold rums. This is got something, mouthfeel wise, even though I'm just smelling it. Let's give her a try. Woo! That has a little bit of heat to it, even though it's only 80 proof. Definitely kind of expanded my mouth. It's got a lot longer finish. I'm really starting to pick up some of the wood notes now. I could taste kind of the darker fruits, almost like a raisin, maybe a little bit. Definitely vastly more intense than the rums I've tasted before, the earlier videos. Little bit of burnt sugar. There's little. I can definitely taste the dark charring on this. Like it's not a charcoal kind of thing, but again, you knew something burnt was involved in the process. But overall, a nice, intense rum. And I tell you what I'm going to do with it when I get it off screen. I bought a gallon of Sunny Delight, and we're definitely going to throw this in. That is one of my favorite little drinks is Myers Dark and some orange juice. I think the two flavors just play together real well. Well, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please subscribe down below. Also, please like the video because it lets YouTube know we're putting out good content. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them in the comment section, or you can always contact me on the Twitter page. Till next time, bottoms up.